Hey friends, hey guys, and welcome to today's vlog. It's Vlogmas Day, who knows? And today I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about the 5 things I did after I received Ella's autism diagnosis. So the 5 things that I did immediately after receiving her diagnosis that has led us to where we are 2.5 years later after receiving her diagnosis. Ella was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. We received a high functioning, we didn't get a level. If I had to take a wild guess without getting her re-diagnosed through a neurologist, I would say she's probably moderate. She's verbal. She was once upon a time not verbal, but I would say she's moderate to high, moderate to severe. She's like right in the middle. Sometimes you never know. Like, I truly don't have a number. That wasn't a thing, or it just wasn't something that was a thing for us when we got her diagnosed. Ella is thriving, and I want to take the time to encourage you, if you are just now getting your child diagnosed, no matter how old they are, no matter what stage of life you're in, these are 5 things that I did immediately after receiving her diagnosis that have led us to where we are now. So the first thing I did after receiving Ella's autism diagnosis is I cried. I grieved. I grieved the loss of a childhood that I had envisioned when I was pregnant for Ella. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not sad that Ella has autism. I was sad that my dreams as her parent, for what I thought her life was supposed to look like, were gone. Turns out, funny enough, for all parents, autism or not, you really have no control over what your child's future looks like. We can only do our best, and they're going to do what they want to do regardless of a diagnosis or anything. So that's something I had to come to terms with as a parent. But I always encourage people who are getting a diagnosis. I did not come to the place I'm at right now with acceptance for a long time. It took me a long time to not be sad every time I thought about Ella's future, to not get anxiety every time I thought about what life would be like for her when she's older. So I really encourage you to grieve. That is one of the first things that happens. It's normal, it's natural, and it's not something that you at all should feel bad about. It's something that a lot of parents that get a diagnosis handed to them go through, and it's a natural thing, and you have to go through that to end up at the stage of acceptance. So the first thing that happened when I got her diagnosis is I grieved. Number 2, the second thing that I did after I received her diagnosis is I sought out services for my child. I did all the research. I YouTubed, I Googled how I found fathering autism. Somebody in passing, it wasn't even her neurologist, said, have you heard of ABA therapy? We had already at that time had her in speech and occupational therapy prior to her diagnosis. I had absolutely no idea what ABA therapy was, so I took to the second largest search engine in the world, which is YouTube. Google being number 1. ABA therapy. What is ABA therapy? Boom, found it. The next step with me seeking services was figuring out, how do I get my child this type of therapy? It is not easy for everyone. It's honestly not as easy to get as people think it is, but it's not impossible either. It's a lot of work. We had months until we actually got her into therapy, but that was the second thing I did. So if your child is not receiving any services, I really do encourage you to look into all of your options. I'm not saying you have to go with ABA therapy to be where we are as far as Ella's diagnosis and how she's improving and doing things, but I will say ABA therapy gave her so many life skills and the ability to communicate and have communicative language and all of those things that have made our lives so much easier and so much better for her and happier. So the second thing I did was starting to seek services. So I immediately called her pediatrician. What can I do? I need a referral for ABA therapy. I had to find a place for ABA therapy, which we found Bass. Thank you, Jesus. They have been so good to our girl. And that was the second thing that came with an autism diagnosis, was seeking services, making sure that my kid is going to live her very best life. So that would be number 2. The third thing we did after getting Ella's diagnosis, her autism diagnosis, was we set up plans for her future. I immediately got on the Med-waiver list, which in the state of Florida, there's a Med-waiver. There's actually med waivers in every state. They're called different things in each state, so I encourage you to do your research and find whatever program that is for you specifically. Here it's a Med-waiver. Thankful for Priscilla who informed me about that, because being a special needs parent, I had absolutely no idea. I had absolutely no idea what a Med-waiver was, not a clue. What it is it provides respite services. If your child is still in pull-up and wipes, they provide you with that. Long term, they can help you with housing, with therapies as they're adults, with groups, all of those things. The list in Florida is substantially long. I believe the Moss family waited 7 years to get approved for Abigail. Ella has currently been on the Med-waiver list for 2 years, and I have not heard a thing. I know there's special circumstances if you're going through like surgery or like a crisis. I know they have crisis things set in place to help you with respite and care for your child if that is what you're seeking. But I would really encourage you to get on the Med-waiver list. I will leave a link for Florida's Med-waiver list down below to help you guys out if you are in Florida and you have never heard of it. I think that is an awesome tool. It's something that every special needs parent really needs to look into. My best friend who lives in New York, her son's on Med-waiver, and he gets equestrian therapy and all of those things, and pull-ups and all of those things that help her raise him and help ease, I don't want to say burden, but help ease the stress of raising a child with special needs. The fourth thing that came with getting Ella's autism diagnosis is our health and fitness journey. That is super random, but as a parent with a child with special needs, I need to be alive a lot longer than most. And I don't like to say that because, I mean, every child needs their parent for as long as they're here. And who's to say I don't step outside and get struck by lightning? You know what I mean? But that was literally the one of the major steps and moving milestones for us. Not saying we don't struggle and that we are where we're supposed to be, but that was a huge wake-up call to us that we need to get our health and fitness in order. At least try and eat healthier, make better decisions, move our bodies, you know, lay off the things that are not going to help us live longer. I really think that it's also important for my mental health for me to be aware of what I'm eating and emotional eating and all those things, because that can also get tied into the grieving process as I don't feel good, I'm so sad. You're shoveling in food because you're upset, and that's totally normal. Feel the feelings, but you really need to realize that we have to be there for our kids. That's anybody, but it is a huge part of our process. That's when we decided our fitness journey would begin. I have since lost and gained. I lost 100 pounds, but I have also gained weight in the meantime with grieving and all the other things I've gone through. So I always say I've lost 100 pounds, but like if we're being realistic, right now where I'm at, I've lost about 75 from my heaviest weight. 75, 80 pounds. My heaviest weight of me stepping on a scale. There was many years I really stayed away from the scale. But I think it's important that we do take care of ourselves and try and be around for as long as we can for our kids. The last and final thing we did once we received Ella's autism diagnosis was we accepted it. That took some time. It really did. I think we've hit the acceptance phase in this last 8 or 9 months. Ella's thriving with ABA therapy and all the right therapies and follow through at home and all of the things that we are doing to ensure that she's got the life skills to at least take care of herself in some form or fashion over the next however long her life is. Accepting autism isn't a death sentence also was a huge moment for us in our family. It's helped me explain it better to family and friends. So instead of receiving the "I'm so sorry," "oh, this is sad," "this kind of sucks," like back and forth that we tend to get when we tell people Ella has autism, I'm able to like be like, it's fine, like it's totally fine. We live a nice, good life. It's just sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not, and we've accepted that autism is what makes Ella her. Autism is what makes her personality her own, and I would never want to take that away from her. I never want her to feel like what she has as a diagnosis defines who she is as a person. She's funny, she's smart, she has her things that she loves, and she has things that she doesn't like, and she has things that she struggles with, and she has things that she doesn't struggle with, just like anybody else. So acceptance is probably one of the biggest, most important things that happens when you receive a special needs diagnosis. I think when you get to that point, your life is just going to be so much more fulfilling, and you enjoy the little things and you celebrate everything, and you're not constantly looking at the future as a dark, dim, awful place to be. I really hope and pray that whatever phase of the diagnosis process that you're going through, that you find some peace in the fact that you will accept it. It will get better regardless if it gets harder or easier or whatever, or therapy or not. You learn to live your new normal. You learn how to cope with certain situations. And the quicker, I wouldn't say the quicker, but seriously, the quicker you get to acceptance, the more positive and brighter life seems to be. So I wanted to really share this with you guys. I've gotten so many emails and messages about you guys getting diagnoses for your new kids, or not your new kids, but for your kids. And I really want to encourage you guys that it gets so much better. And you are not alone. There's a whole giant community of us as parents and caretakers, friends, family, who are here with you. We understand the feelings. We're all in different phases of it. And I really encourage you to find communities of people who will lift you up and let you know, hey, it's okay to have a bad day. Hey, it's okay that this is going on. It's gonna be okay. And that's what I'm here to tell you. It's going to be okay. So if you guys like videos like this, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Let me know down below. Make sure you like this video. Share it with a friend who you think may need to hear it, who is going through the autism diagnosis process. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. Remember, it's a good life, guys. It's a good life. I love you guys. Bye, friends.